the trend of turning up to training in flip-flops. They're all watching the pros do it. They turn up in the flip-flops and then they get the little boot bag out, getting the boots out, putting the boots on. Like, oh, proper player now with them. They just rock it up. It's funny, to be fair, to watch it. But like, yeah, just little, because obviously they obsess over it. They'll watch them, they appreciate it and great. Yeah. But yeah, when then the bad behaviours come in, it's obviously a negative thing, and you've got to be careful around how much that's taken in.
No Gucci wash bags. Not coming in with them yet.
That'd be banned if that no pins.
Welcome to the Fit Dads Podcast. I'm Brad Thompson. That man that sat across from me is Ryan Dutton, and today is proper mix of sport, mindset and mastery. We're joined by Ryan Hopkinson, who I'm going to call Hoppo today. You've told me that's allowed. A football coach who spent years developing players on the pitch, whilst also competing at a high level in the world of professional pool. Two completely different arenas, but both demanding precision, discipline, and a serious level of focus. So today we're going to dive into Ryan's journey through sport and how coaching has shaped his perspective, what it takes to perform with margins that are razor thin. From developing footballers to competing under pressure at the pool table, this one's about transferable skills and mindset. So, Hoppo, cheers for joining us, mate.
It's nice to see you, I've ever had.
Yeah,
my man, Hoppo. I know, nice to see you all.
Appreciate you joining us, mate. But yeah, keeping well?
Yeah, very good, mate. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, really enjoying life. It's good. I'm enjoying what I'm doing. You know, like I say, living a dream, to be fair. Like you've mentioned a few things here which were well presented, better than I could. So, but yeah, no, like, yeah, just really happy, and that's how you should be, I believe so.
Absolutely. It's been a long time coming, this as well. I feel like we've been on each other's radar for ages.
I know, we've always been like in linked, haven't we? But like never actually crossed paths, so it's nice to finally get here, lads, yeah.
I feel like there's a lot of layers to you, mate. Loads of layers in terms of, because my first exposure to you was the podcast. So you had George on, didn't you?
That's right, yeah.
And I've not known George very long, to be fair, only a couple of years for running, but I saw him on your podcast, and I don't know who does your visuals, mate, but bloody hell, they were good. Yeah. And when it come up, it was like watching some cinema. I was like, this is so much crisper than our videos. I had to pick your brains on what cameras they're using and all that business.
Yeah. He's a guy who actually used to live with Ty with us, and he's got his own little studio in Sheffield, so yeah, I'm quite lucky that I'm good friends with someone who knows what he's doing. But yeah, it was a good time, that, the podcast, obviously, knowing George a long time. Great lad, as I say. I know you know him in the fitness world anyway, but a good friend of mine from when we were kids, so that's how we crossed paths. But
he's really sound. I like Josh.
Really good lad. Yeah, changed his mindset completely. You know, someone I really look up to in regards to his journey as well. So it's good. It's good.
He'll love a mention this early as well.
Oh, of course, absolutely.
I love that mention so early. I mean, just in case anyone wants to, cross-pollinate podcasts and that sort of stuff, what's the name of it? If people want to listen after they've listened to this one.
Yeah, mine's the Game Within the Game podcast. I've actually put a bit of a pause on it at the minute, but it's been a really good one. We've still got all the episodes online at the minute, so but yeah, it's something I'll probably look at revisiting a little bit in the future, just with so much going on in life, as we'll hopefully delve into a little bit. But I've just put a bit of a pause on it. But it's been great. There's been some great guests recently who I've really enjoyed interviewing as well. So, but yeah, I'll look on there if you want to see that.
Other end at mic today, mate.
I know, it's weird. It's strange being not the interviewer and being interviewed.
Yeah.
Let's go right back, mate. Snooker.
Okay.
Is this something you've been doing since you were a kid? Was it one of the earliest things you started? Is it something more recent? When did you get into snooker?
So obviously I play pool, don't I? Pool.
Sorry, pool. My mistake. Pool. Sorry. I made the faux pas.
You may as well have said snooker.
I might as well have said darts.
I know, No, so
pool. Sorry, my mistake.
Yeah, it's all good. It started off. Obviously, I played snooker as well, but I played pool. So weirdly, going back when I was a kid, I always remember the stories when I first started because it were when I was with my dad. So my dad obviously used to spend a bit of time in pubs, typical pub dad. Loved going out with his mates, still does now, bless him. At his ripe age, he's 60. He'll like me saying that as well. But when I was young, obviously I was hanging around with my dad, going into pubs with my little sister. And obviously there were a pool table in the venue. As you do, and for me, I'm just, as I found out now, I've got older, I always want to be doing something. I can't just sit there and play about with my hands or all that. I needed to be doing something. So anyway, I started playing pool, and it was back in the days where you put your 50p on the table, you'd wait for your turn, play the winner stays on, and I quickly progressed into staying on at like a young age and queuing over the table with my arm on the side. So, But yeah, it was Steel Metals Pub in Kilmarsh. That's where I used to play right at the start, and then I actually went into being in the men's team. So it was a really quite a cool process how I started as a kid being in there, and just like I say, playing the locals, building up that way, and then obviously fell into playing it a little bit more seriously as I was getting into my teen years. and didn't really know too much about the game at the time. But then again, one of my dad's friends, Simon Whittam, he was actually one of the county managers for South Yorkshire. So I naturally fell into playing a little bit more competitively, learning the new rule set and so on. And I got into the county C team, so South Yorkshire C, and that was like there's like A, B, and C how it segregates. And when I was like 18, I think I made sort of like a debut, if you like, if you want to call it that, in the county C team, and that was like kind of the start then. And then I really enjoyed, the competitive side of it. It kind of kept me busy away from coming out of football, which again I can mention and why in a minute. But just love it. I love competing. I think it's important as a, I don't want to sound like I'm saying anything wrong with this, but like as a male, I think it's important that you're quite competitive, and I think I like that sort of element of me. I always want to keep that there. So even with my coaching now, because it's not, like I said, overly competitive, the sports side of it, and obviously the competition that I still do now, I love it. I get up for it every time I play. So tournaments get me excited, playing in the games, and it was good, nice little hobby I found.
I get that vibe that you love coaching, because it's a very big part of your life, right? Man. I just thought you did. Well, obviously I knew a little bit about you before you came. You had the football coaching business. Needed some pull, but you brought your cue with you today.
I have, yeah.
And I was thinking he's going to bring it upstairs on the podcast.
It weren't a prop.
And then you're like, no, this is for after, because I'm going to go and coach some pool. So obviously you coach pool as well, which is awesome. So you obviously love giving those skills back to people.
Love it, yeah. I mean, obviously coaching, just going back on a story with that, it's like I've always done it from, I'm 29 now, it's crazy to think that, but I've been coaching since really I was 16, 17. I'm quite lucky, I felt that, just going back on my story, that when I was in college, I started coaching, and my first experience with coaching was so good, and I think that's really what brought the fire in me. So I always remember the time it was. I was at Sheffield United doing my college BTEC level 3, and anyway, there was a guy called Keith Ward who worked in the Sheffield United Community Foundation, and a lot of the students got a lot of leads into coaching in the community and stuff like that. And Keith sort of put his arm around me. He was a really good guy. I think he saw some good in us, which is a nice thing. And we just got on really well. Like even just, when you just got to know you've got a really good bond with a certain teacher or a certain tutor, it was kind of like that. And he gave me my first chance. And the chance was he dealt with basically the sort of like more disability side of it in Sheffield community. So he worked quite closely with Western Park Hospital. And the first session I ended up doing was up at, I don't know if you've ever been up to Crooks, at the top of the hill, and there's that I can't remember the name of the venue now, but it's like an AstroTurf. Yeah. And Sheffield United had something to do with it.
It's got like a gym attached.
That's right, yeah. It was up there. I always remember it so clear as day because it was such a good experience. And it used to be the Western Park Hospital patients or people who was going in there would come down and basically just put on a football session for them. And honestly, like the reaction you get off them just from that was unbelievable. I mean, I was a 17-year-old kid, I was proper nervous doing it, but after a bit of time, I always remember the first few was just you just come in, they're just so happy, and the difference you could make just by putting on such a simple session and just putting a bit of football on it was like that. I was just attached to it as soon as I saw it. So, and I just love making people have that sort of day, be happier, be a better version of themselves. Yeah. I just don't think that passion will ever die in me, sort of thing. So yeah, naturally going back to what you said about pool, it was nice to sort of come into something. I know I'm probably a little bit better at than football, because obviously with my playing career it's not been as fruitful as my pool has. But it's something I absolutely love it, and just dealing with good people is a great feeling. So
it makes you realise as well, there's things you take for granted that you do every day that other people, if they had the opportunity to do it and to learn it, would absolutely love it.
Absolutely, yeah.
And we see that with coaching all the time. We get people coming to us and I want to be that gym person, but I don't know how to deadlift, I don't know how to lift weights, I don't know how to do all this stuff. You start teaching them and you see them flourish, and you see them go as being this nervous person in the gym to then they can't wait to go. And they're sending you all these things on my protein, shall I get this and shall I get this? And you got to debunk a lot of the stuff, but you're also I love this because they're so into it now, they love it. And I'm sure people are coming to you, what pull cue should I get?
Exactly, yeah.
How much chalk should I put on? All these questions, and that's when you know, I've got him. I've got him now. That's it. They're into it.
Yeah, it's class.
Such a nice feeling.
Yeah, definitely. And just going back to that story as well, I always remember one incident what we had. There was a guy called Adam, And he was an oldish guy. He's probably like, at the time, probably like mid-50s, like sort of like late 50s-ish.
I thought you were going to say mid-30s.
But he come down, and I always remember what he used to do. And this is the thing, I always recognise like the reason why I coached to this moment. It's really, really like far back as well. But he used to ride down on his bike. I mean, I said ride down. He used to ride up the Crooks Hill. Bless him. He was that sweating before he even came. And he come down.
That on my bag.
he come down, and I always remember like this was a few sessions in, and then after the session he'd always stay and talk to you about what he'd done on his day, and he told me he'd been down south and like been out with his brother and stuff like that, and he was just a very like just one of the most genuine guys I could meet. And obviously at the time I was still young, learning to be an adult, and just having conversations with him I felt like I was developing even myself as well as listening to him by listening to him. And then he come out with a comment. It was like the first compliment I ever had, like through coaching, and I still remember it to this day, like, because it was just so special to me. It was just like, he just literally said my name. It was like, Ryan, he said, I really enjoy your sessions, you know, and I want to say thank you for putting them on. And I like falling back tears. Like I was just that moment just got me, I believe. And
how old were you at that age?
So I was like literally 17. I first started, because again I was doing it at college. It was just more of a voluntary role at that point, and that were it. Then I just felt like that moment just proper grabbed me. And even now, like someone telling you you're doing something right and well, yeah, I don't rely on it, but it's such a nice feeling. You know what I mean? And then you see the successes of people, and obviously now getting into being a little bit more in, I suppose, detailed coach, where I'm working with high level players, seeing like successes of my players achieving something in the game. That's a special moment as well. So that'll never die as well. I love that feeling. So
it's funny because coaching is the same across every discipline, isn't it? Like if you're gonna be good at it, you got a real passion. Yeah. And I think you get it. Like, you're an out and out coach for sure. There's no doubt about that. Yeah.
And it does sound like you've had some great coaching as well. I know you said there's a couple of lads in pool hall and at pubs and stuff. Is there a point where you felt like, oh, I'm pretty good at this? Is there an age where you thought, actually, I'm spanking grown adults?
You're walking into the pub, shoulders swinging, going, bring it on then, lads. Who's having it today?
Pint of Stella, lads.
Weirdly, like, obviously, it's weird how it starts. So, like, when I was obviously playing back at, like, the pub level, if you want to call it, like, so I was playing on a Tuesday night for the Steelmelters pub, and that's just literally like a one-frame format. So you're playing like first to 8, it's one frame at a time, and it's like, we call it old EPA rules, and they just drain the life out of you. They're not very fun to play. Like if someone like used to get like the older guys who were just like elite at that rules and just snooker, play safe, things like that. And I obviously like the aggressive side of it. I liked pool was fun for me compared to snooker, and people might say, because a lot of that is the question I get is, why do you not play snooker if you play pool? For me, playing snooker I just found it a bit boring. It was too long-winded for me, and I admittedly probably weren't as good as what I were at pool at it, but I like the quick fireness of it. It's like you can break off and not give your opponent a shot, and that was fun for me. So when I started to get me first, we call it a break dish, that was like when I probably recognised, I can play all right. And then, like I say, the South Yorkshire, playing for them and representing the county, and that was good. You're wearing the shirt, you've got like lads cheering your name. It was a nice feeling. And then I kind of had a few years off, probably I think around when I was like 20-ish, 21, I was like sort of transitioning in jobs in football, because I've always set my priority on football, and that was another thing. Like for snooker, you've got to, in my opinion, dedicate your life to it. Even as an amateur, like going into the snooker side, the amateur tour Q school is brutal. Like from what I know, I know some lads who play on it, and it's just so cutthroat, and you've got to literally devote your life to it. It's a lot of money to spend. So I just went in that position to do it. So pool was easier to access for me, and just that's why I went that way instead.
It's a shame that, isn't it? It's just kind of number one, it's paid to play a little bit.
Yeah.
Definitely. You need big sponsors to be able to get on it.
Yeah, I bet.
I think that's a big thing as well. Like if you take a break from something and then you come back to it, I think you come into it almost a new lease of life.
Of course, yeah.
I don't know did you find that?
I did. Yeah. I mean, the main reason I had a break out of it was because I had a big opportunity in football. I actually, so just going through the process of it so I can sort of timeline it a bit better for you, is I went to university after, so I was working at Community Foundation for a couple of years. Obviously went from voluntary to a bit of part-time work, and then I stayed at university and I've got my degree in football coaching, development and administration. And then that led me on to, I actually went into my teaching degree, so I was going to go into post-16 work. I did a little bit of it, and then obviously a well-known player, Billy Sharp, got me on board with him to develop his academy. So that was a really good opportunity there back then. And I did that for a few years. And at that time, it was such a busy period, so I didn't really play any competitive pool at that point. I kind of like did an odd event, but again, because it's an hobby and it's not, I'm not going to sit here and say it's a job what pays you well. It isn't. You've got to be winning events a lot, and there's very few people probably in the UK who can do it full time, unless you're travelling abroad and things like that. But yeah, it's just I put it to the side, prioritise football because that is my life, and that's what I thought was the important thing at that time. So yeah, coming back to it, I suppose it was nice, and especially now. I mean, obviously, I can't really speak for. I can't remember what I was doing 3 years ago. It just all feels a bit regular sometimes. But I started my business 3 years ago, and since I've gone into my new place, I've obviously got my indoor venue now, RH Performance Centre, which is where I do all my one-to-ones and things like that. I've been able to transition it more into an actual business as opposed to it just being me. I know you guys all know doing it yourself. Like when it's solely you, it does take a lot because you're upholding your name. You've got. I mean, you're the one who's running everything. You're running your clients, you're running your business posts and things like that. And I've got a great team now around me. Aaron, bless him, is an absolute gem who I've got on board with me. Aaron Bright, and he runs sort of that one-to-one side now. So it's given me the freedom to be able to play a little bit more. And obviously this year, my first year on Pro Tour, it's been able to get a proper go, which is nice. It took me a long time to get here, but yeah, it's good. It's a nice feeling.
Do you think going back to it? So how long did you have off from pool?
Probably didn't play properly for 3 or 4 years. So I picked it up probably properly like 2.5, 3 years ago now.
When you went back to it, I assume there's a bit of rustiness in there.
Yeah.
Did you feel a certain sense of like, I see the game differently now I'm a little bit older? Because I sometimes find that when I go and knock a ball about and I play football, because I don't really play much.
Yeah.
And I had I must have like 6-7 years off football, and I started having some knockabouts in the park with some friends quite regularly. And I felt like I understood things a little bit better in terms of positioning and where I needed to be. And I just saw the game through like an older head.
Yeah.
Do you find that applies to pool?
1,000%. Yeah. 'Cause I think the biggest thing what people won't see unless you compete in a sport like properly, it's the mental side, which I think is literally, and especially for pool. I don't know if you ever watch snooker on telly. Like even the top pros, like the game can rattle you so much. Yeah. You can literally be playing like unbelievable pool for like a frame before, and then the next frame you can just completely lose it, and you just don't know why sometimes. And it is literally like internal thoughts. And I've been so into this. I actually invested in a mindset coach a little bit. So
Fantastic.
I actually do a bit of online work. Well, he's got an online page called Q Sport Hub. I'll plug him because he's a great guy.
Who is it?
He's called Noel Flannery.
Okay.
And he works with like even top golfers. He's worked with snooker players. He works with a lot of the elite pro players who are travelling the world as well. Wow. And his work's amazing. And like I've actually spoke to him. We did an interview on the last Pro Talks. He came down to watch, and he's got a few players who he sort of supports. And me being one of them, we did like a little bit of an interview together. And I've done some one-to-ones with him. I follow all his online page as well, but the mental side for pool is, and I think any cue sport, it's like 95% of the game. Honestly, you can have the ability, like, but if your head's not there, it's unbelievably different.
Have you ever dabbled in golf?
I have, yeah. Started playing it actually. Funnily enough, I did it. I went about a year and a half ago. My mate was like really good, and it's like, do you fancy a game of golf? Oh, go on then. I just love it now. But do you know what's good about that?
For me, that when you talk about that mental side of things, and it being so much that golf is all mental for me, and I don't. There's no rationale to golf. Like, I can wake up in the morning, I feel a bit tired. I'm not going to have a good game today when I'm playing football. I know when I'm not going to have a good game.
Yeah.
I feel tired, my head's not there. I can have a round of golf where I play terribly. And I can wake up the next day and be, not like Tiger Woods, but feel like I'm playing like Tiger Woods. Everything's straight, I'm hitting it clean, it's right at the centre of the face. There's no... I can't comprehend it in my mind as to why it's so different. And in my mind, I'm doing the same swing, I'm doing the same bits. Yeah. Obviously, it won't be the same. There's something there. But I think a lot is that it's mental. When I start shanking it, all I can think about is shanking it. That's all that happens. I can't get that out of my mind.
It's funny because I think it works like that though. Because like what you're into, it's so hard because like the surface. Like, I don't know how to split it really, but I've been quite invested in this process of like the surface level thinking. So if you're not feeling good, like in that moment, because the way not like even going back to Noel, what I've learned over the process is if you try and consider too much what happens in the future and then consider too much what's happened in the past, like you just get so lost in both worlds. I put it on like a bit of a spectrum now, like this. And the one big thing he knuckles down in Noel is being in the moment. So like nothing else matters other than what you're doing at this point. Yeah. So like even when it comes to my backswing on my cue, if I'm thinking about a previous shot I've missed, it's so detrimental to you because you're thinking about that miss and your body just reacts, and we call it twitching. So like, I don't know if you've ever heard of the word switch in a pool. That he's throwing a twitch in there. No. It's basically where your back arm feels like it's moving, like in a irregular spot. It's a bit similar like with golf. You can have the yips. Have you heard of that?
Yeah,
the yips and stuff. Yeah, absolutely. You can have the yips in pool. Like you can't actually release the cue, but that's just all mental. And he talks about it. To be honest, what makes it annoying is Noel talks about it so simply. He makes it sound like really simple to crack. And it is in a way when you actually delve into it. But
when you're in the thick of it, it's hard.
For me, like I'm like living in the moment now a lot more. And I even do it now in life. I think it's so important that you do that because it's really clear in that point. So like again, you can't actually. When he talks about a pool result, for example, you can't actually guarantee the result, but what you can guarantee is how you perform in that moment, like how you process it. It's your action, you're in control. You can't control what's going to happen. You can't control when my opponent turns up and plays unbelievable as well. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, that's one thing I've definitely, especially coming back and even now I'm still invested in it because it does bother you. You're playing competitive sport, you want to win, you want to be winning events, and I'd probably say I haven't, if I'm being honest with myself, I haven't achieved what I wanted to achieve as an amateur. And then going on the Pro Tour this year, obviously I've only had one event, but I want to be able to say, yeah, my results are matching how I'm feeling and my performance. But I can only sort that. Do you know what I mean? Like I can only deal with the performance side. So
I love that you're into that. Yeah. The mindset.
It's so important. It's so important.
I've got so much admiration for people who can just sports like pool, snooker. I played paddle a couple of weeks ago, right? I've realised very quickly that I try and force my way through a lot of things. So I like just the effort of being like, well, I'm just going to grind through this. What's my next milestone? What's this? Yeah. And the frustration that builds. I don't know if I'm just a mardy arse or if I'm just a terrible loser, but like I'm not good in that situation. Yeah. If there's someone maybe listening who's similar to me, maybe they're a bad loser, or maybe they're like, I get the yips. Well,
that's me though. Like, so honestly, I think, to be honest with you, I don't actually think it's any of that. I think it's the fact that you're just a passionate winner. And I think if you've got it integrated in your system, naturally your emotions will take over as well, because you love the feeling of achievement, and we can't hide from that. And I think, but that's what makes us so successful, I believe, because you're driving all the time and you're wanting to be a better version than you were yesterday. You've always got this, I think targeting winning is never a bad thing, but it's how you can target it is what I've had to change. So I always wanted to sort of jump the hurdle to try and win. Yeah. But there's a process there to get to that point. And it's like anything, like in life, like how many things can you say? Like, could I have gone from 3 years ago starting my business to then getting an indoor venue with 100 plus clients? Well, no, couldn't do that in a day. It's a process what gets you there. And yeah, you learn along the way, and you'll have bad moments and good moments, but that's what is enjoyable, isn't it? Not like that's where I see life now a little bit more, again, but always positive as opposed to there's ever any negatives. I think a setback is actually a learning point, and that's what I really enjoy now. Is I have a weird sort of statement that I made up. I said there's never actually a negative in your life. There's a positive, and then there's something you can learn. And for me, like I do that even in my sport. I do it obviously with my coaching. If I have any and what I'm seeing is every bad moment or a little bit of adversity, I'm dealing with so much better than I know I would have done when I were early 20s or young teens.
I think that's where the maturity comes in as well. That's where at age you start to see things differently. And it reminds me, I've not played golf for many years since my little one was born. That was kind of the first thing to fall by the wayside. But I will play every Thursday, and I always play by myself because my hours, as we've spoke about, are quite unsociable. So Thursday afternoon I go down, and I was getting into the kind of psychology of it a lot, because I was realising there was this disparity in my brain, and I sort of look, mainly YouTube, I go on there, sports psychologists, mainly for golf, what were they saying, what were the tips, what was the advice? And they said, it starts from the moment you wake up in the morning. If you know you've got a game or you're having a round that day, be positive in your thoughts in the morning. Think positively. Think happy things. Even the music you play on the way, because I'm very much about like, I listen to music in the car, I'll put Spotify on. Don't be putting fucking Slipknot on the way to go and play a round of 18 holes when you're trying to get in the car. Mind, put some Motown on, put something a bit more chilled, like classical music, put some like nice, and nothing too sad either, not Ed Sheeran, don't get in your feelings a little bit, like Christ, play something that's a bit more uplifting. Yeah. And I was like, it makes so much sense. Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't have just like play drum and bass on the way to that, and I get out of the car and then I'd be trying to chill for the first tee shot.
Pumping it.
But I'm naturally like, I think he was talking about how you have to understand yourself as well and what you're like as a person.
Yeah, definitely.
Some people are very up here, hyperactive. That's just naturally me. Maybe it's the monsters, maybe it's one too many of these, I don't know. But like, I'm just naturally like a go person. And what's going to calm me down? It's the music, it's the vibe, it's everything else. If you're quite a low person, what's going to bring you up a little bit? What's going to get you just a little bit more excited for that first shot? What's going to get you there? So, knowing yourself, I think is really important. And that, again, that's maturity. You don't mean at 20 years old, you don't know who you are, you don't know what you are. You don't know your elbow from your ass when you're 20 years old. So, that maturity then comes into your game. And I can see why maybe I'm hoping at this point in life you can start kind of sussing things out a bit more mentally.
Yeah, and it's a great point you've raised, to be fair, because that's something that I have changed as well. So I even I'll give you sort of like a bit of a pre-tournament ritual.
I'd love to.
I do some meditation. So it's not like standing, sitting there and people think you just like closing your eyes and you're humming and stuff like that. It's more just like I've got like certain playlists what I play off Spotify and things like that. Again, a lot of it's linked off what Noel said. Hydration, quite important. Having a lot of water. I never used to invest in drinking enough water, and that I even seen has made me feel better. Again, a little bit of a process on what I said to myself. Like, even, I know it sounds, I'm not even bothered anyway, I don't care what people think, but I even stand in the mirror sometimes and I'll tell myself, like, look, you're going to perform well. And so telling yourself good thoughts, because I used to just, honestly, my head can just flood me with imposter syndrome, so bad. And I struggle with it all the time, even in my own personal life. And that process of just having something where I can get myself back into a good position prior to an event, I just feel like I'm feeling better. I'm feeling calmer. I've got a lot of breathing techniques as well, what I use on at the table, because I can get, my anxiety at the table, because your pressure's on, you want to win again, you sometimes creep into that result focus, calm me down, breathe. And that's the thing what I found out is, my day job is football coaching. You'll know it's an high energy environment. It's, come on, get going, bam, man. And when I'm there, I'm at them, like proper, and I love that. But pool is totally different. I can't be going in and clapping my hand. Come on, wake yourself up.
You've got to flip that switch.
Yeah, and that's the thing what I think I struggle with the most. And I can be a little bit out-headed. And like you said, when you said you were being mad, I don't think it's that. I think you're so passionate about winning and you are used to them high-octane environments. That was so difficult to transition across because it's a calmer sport. It's like darts, you've got to be smooth when you throw, and then you see that big outburst at the end when they come on, like that's probably because you are holding it in a little bit, and we're the same, I think, as a pool player and an NQ sport player, so
No snapping pool cues after.
Oh no, try not to anymore.
Have you done that anymore?
No, I've never snapped a cue. When I was younger, I used to be bad. I'll have a moment sometimes. Again, it depends on how you feel, because I can be so stressed and I should be never nowhere near a pool table because you play terribly. Yeah. But it's something I'm trying to learn in not taking any frustrations out on anything because. I always think now, like, who actually cares? Realistically, it's only you who cares so much about it. I always say, like, now, like, in my mind is, when I go to an event, right, and if I don't achieve too much, but even the winner, and you think about the winner of the competition, how quickly do you move on? Like, they win the trophy, you have the presentation, take a photo, next minute, the next announcement for the next comp's out. And it's like, really, how long does that last? Are you really remembered that much?
I'm really glad you mentioned that. I always remember winning this cup final, and I remember not really enjoying it too much, because I was thinking, what's next? And literally, as we're lifting trophy, I'm like, what's next? Yeah. And it was such a weird feeling. I'm like, why am I in front? Why am I not like enjoying this here and now? And that self-talk, I find that fascinating because I don't know. I think we grew up in very similar areas, and
Definitely.
that thought of stood in a mirror, being like, "You can do well
Scary,
today."
Mate. It was weird.
I suppose it screams like Lightning McQueen saying, "I am speed." Do you know what I mean?
It's probably a bit similar, to be fair. Yeah.
But in a way, like, there's that little seed of doubt in your head where you go like, "Oh God, like, what am I doing?" Like, me and my brothers have got this expression which is like, "You're from Woodhouse." And it's that like weird humbling thing where you're like, oh yeah, I am from Woodhouse actually. Like you feel like you can't aspire for more. You're like, no, actually, it's a grounding experience and it's meant to be humbling to sort of bring you down if you need it. Definitely. Or a little, bring me back to the real world. One thing I've got for you, Hoppo, is about that. I suppose overcoming mistakes. Because I imagine if you hit a bit of a crap shot in pool, or you put a foot wrong at football, like what's your self-talk look like? Yeah,
well, again, just from a maturity point of view, like you said, right, it's something I've had to learn. It's a process I have to put in. I don't mind speaking about this, but I think my life's been quite a big. I've had a lot of different events, what's gone on, what's kind of shaped me into the person I am today, and definitely made me a better coach, but at the time it could have made me a bit worse as well. Again, don't mind going into it a little bit, but when I was like 18, I actually left home at like 17, 18, not by choice either. Didn't really want to go. It was my choice, but it wasn't something I wanted to specifically do. And the reason being, it was just something that happened within the family, which it wasn't great. It was all sorted now. We're all good and we're all happy. But at that point, that proper changed my life. I actually went to like living on my own, doing all my own things. I didn't really know how to be an adult. And not just that, coaching. Obviously, when I found that experience, like I say, with Keith Ward, when I did that, and then quite soon after, that's when I left, and it was just a horrible. My personal life wasn't good. And it's quite sad to say, but I used to feel like I lived two lives. So one would be my coaching life, and then the other would be my personal life. And I wanted to spend as little time in my personal life as I could. Like, and it was horrible, really, looking back to like I just didn't even want to be myself, and it was quite sad. But when I was on a pitch, I felt like I just turned into a totally different person, and that freedom it gave me was just such a. I can't honestly put the feeling into words. It was just like, that's what I still burn now. I use that as my motivation. And everyone always says to me, like, oh, did you know when they might say, oh, like, did you see so-and-so's parent? I'm like, no. I genuinely won't even see anything other than what I'm doing in that moment. Yeah. And that's why I know, I hate bigging myself up, but I know I'm so good at my job because I love it that much. And that passion and drive I had, and really from the experience I had, I didn't really want any of my, so it sounds like really bizarre, but I viewed it as I didn't want my kids or players at the time that we had to have a bad experience with me, and I wanted to give them what I felt like they deserve. And because I had that burning sensation in me to do that, it always came out so well. And so yeah, just going back, I had like this little double life sort of feeling, and I spent so much time in that coaching. But then when I'd come home and I'd try and come down, it'd literally be the most depressive state I've ever had. And I actually had a lot of counselling for it as well, because it was so tough, and you know, it was a bad time in my time. But it's important to get out because it shaped me, like, and it was horrible. It really was. Like, when I couldn't come back to my own self. Yeah. So my pitch was my way out.
Yeah, it's like a bad habit in reverse almost.
Yeah,
because you were using something that was. You know, you could have gone either way there. Like, when you went to live by yourself, you could have been very destructive, and a lot of people are.
Yeah.
And this is what fascinates me about human beings, who chooses to use that really low feeling in a productive way, like you did, by not only actually helping yourself and putting yourself into work and thrusting yourself into coaching and wanting to make other people feel better, the same way coaching made you feel. And why do people do that, and why do other people go, oh, I'm just gonna get pissed every week?
Like self-destruct. It made me hair stand up then, honestly. It proper, like, I don't know, like, it gets me down a bit, because I look back and I think, even though I'm so proud of what I put it into, because like you say, well, I'll be honest, like, I had, you know, certain friends who could do that and went out and got drunk, and I'd go out, and don't get me wrong, I made some choices what I weren't overly proud of. Not terrible ones, but just like, look, you know, bad habits like drinking, smoking, or whatever it might have been at that 18, 19. I know we have, I'm trying things that I'd say to myself, no, I'm never going to do that, I'm always going to be like that. And I sort of felt like I lost myself, but I never really, like, you know, like now I'm investing in me a lot more, and I'm so proud of that, because that was so difficult to do. But back then, like you say, I masked the feeling by helping others. So I'm so glad it was a good thing. Right. But realistically, looking back, I can't even remember, like, 70, like, probably like 18 to 21, 22, like, if I ever treat myself well. And really, that's quite a poor and horrible feeling. Yeah. So when someone asked me, like, oh, what were you like when you're 19, 20, we were going out and doing this, like, no, not really. I can't remember really what we're doing. I don't even want to remember it.
Do you know what's weird? I wonder if there's some kind of, like, mental block in it, where you just decompartmentalize your brain and go, I don't really want to open that drawer. That's a drawer in life that I choose to keep locked. The memories stay kind of there. I think seeking counselling for that stuff's really good as well, because it just helps you process it. Because if you don't really address it, I think it festers, and it's like a brain virus, isn't it? Like, just based on a current that was planted there at a certain point in your life, and if you don't address it, that virus can get worse and worse and worse, and it just comes out in the worst way in the future. So it's good to hear that you're kind of getting some counselling for that.
I don't have as much anymore. Obviously, I've gone more into sort of, like, because I've gone the Q Sport route, but, like, the last God, them years from probably like the first 2 or 3 I didn't get any, but like then from 1920 I were having it literally every week.
Okay.
And
so you got it really early on then.
I knew there was something wrong, but like it wasn't something that I wanted to leave as well, because I knew I didn't want it to self-destruct. And I probably, no, I don't say lucky, that's pretty harsh, but like when you see your friends and they was making certain choices or bad choices, I still could make sure that was wrong. Does that make sense? Like, as in I was still allocating that as right. I'm not going to do that because I know I don't want to be like that. And that was probably the only bit of care I put in for myself, and just loved the feeling of coaching. That, as bizarre as it sounds, that was like a drug to me. Genuinely, like on a pitch, as soon as you got me my kit on, session starts, that hour would just be an unbelievable experience. And no one will feel that unless you love it, you know what I mean? And I think
agree.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
totally know what you mean.
God.
Totally know what you mean.
I've sort of never heard anyone put it into words before, but it's interesting because coaching does make you feel a certain way, and it's almost like you're outsourcing your happiness in a way, where it's like, I'm going to do this because it makes me feel like I've got some sort of worth because I'm providing some value. And then when everything goes quiet, like I don't know about you, but if today, if my life goes quiet and I've got time to think, it's very easy to call it a cognitive distortion, where your brain sort of sees things through a very weird lens, where there's no proof that what you're saying is true. Like, well, if I'm not providing value, I'm not useful. But yeah, I think it definitely triggered something in my mind then.
I think it's I think the euphoric feeling, that drug feeling you're talking about with coaching, I think it comes from seeing someone else go through what you went through with football. Because you know, when football, I mean, for me, I loved football. I was football obsessed until I kind of left university. That's when my kind of football ended. And when I coach now, it kind of takes me back to when I used to play football, or when I first got into weights, and that euphoric feeling that I got. And when you can see someone achieving something, it's almost like you relive that every time you do it. Every time you coach someone a skill, or you see them crack something, or you watch them on the pitch, and all those things you've been working on in training just come into fruition, and it leads to a goal, and you win the game, and you're like, God, that feels good. And it's you reliving that, I think, a little bit, isn't it? You reliving that moment when you were that age. Absolutely. And it all happened for you. And I know what you mean by it's hard to put into words, because it is. It's really difficult, isn't it? Yeah, and
that's it, like you just said there, like it's, I relive moments, but like I say, from that experience I had in my life, I just love how I was using it in the right way. But again, for me, I don't know why I lined it this way, but it was more giving people the opportunity to have someone, sounds really sad again, but like how I probably wanted to be, how I wanted that support when I was going through a bit of rubbish. And yeah, looking at it now, I'm glad I put it into a positive way, but it was like a drug to me, and it was a way out of getting into a feeling, like that second persona of like, I can get out of this like this. So I'd just obsess over doing it. But then you take me back home, and
I think when you're in that depths of despair as well, anything that makes you feel good, you latch onto it. And I think it's, for you, it's coaching. Coaching probably saved you to a certain degree in that point.
You're bang on.
Because if you hadn't been doing that, and that wasn't your only kind of source of happiness and joy, it probably would have been going out at a weekend. And you can see why people...
It would have been bad.
Because if the only source of happiness you've got is going out at a weekend, having a few pints, maybe having a tear up, having a few kitchen sessions, like, you can see why that just becomes your life. Because that's the only thing that's giving me a release and a break and a bit of mental positivity. I mean, you pay for it the day after, right? Do you know what I mean? And it's absolutely the worst and destructive things you can do. But I think that's what it is. We look for anything in our lives that's just bringing us any source of happiness. And fortunately for you, you had coaching.
Absolutely, And and I'm glad I went forward with it. And because I loved it that much, I always wanted to know more. Obviously, I've got my UEFA B as well, which is like level 3 in FA. And I was like one of the youngest in Sheffield to have that at the time when it was out, and that was like a proud moment as well. And I just love and even now I still love the challenge. And for me, the biggest one is like coaching professionals now. I started doing that obviously when I set my own business up 3 years ago. I've had a lad called Jack Waldron. He's a massive part of my career, to be honest, because he's a great lad. We're actually good friends as well off the pitch. I've coached him since he was a 15-year-old lad, and he actually come to when I went at Billy Sharp's academy. And again, like I was saying about that sort of tutor-student sort of bond, and like with him, it was just such a I just saw a younger version of me in him, and like I just loved coaching him because he was so reactive. Like he's like, yeah, I'll do that, and he always. But one thing as well, what I'd like to touch on as well is he was so coachable, and like the way he was just as a person, a lot of that was reflected off like a family situation as well, like with him. So his unit around him was great. You know, he was dead respectful. He was always thanking you after a session, and even in the session as well, he was so like invested in what you've got to say. There was none of that big-headedness, I'm already at academy, and like, what have you done in your... He would never like question that. He'd always like, right, let me listen, let me take it in, and then I'll go from it there. And even now, he's 20-year-old, and then I'm still coaching him. So 5 years we've been together. Yep. Go golfing with him, watch him through his career. He's just had a really good season at National League North, just got playoffs with Scarborough Athletic. So just seeing him progress as well, again, that's a proud moment for me. And
I love that word, coachable. Because I regularly, there's a handful of my clients, not all of them aren't coachable, by the way, but there's a select few who just get it. They're just sponges, and maybe it's that. Maybe it's I see myself in them, and you know, it's quite nice to see them just ask questions and be inquisitive. And even though they have, you know, some of them achieve some amazing things, but they still just, I don't know, they just take a step back and they go, you know, this is really, really important that I listen to what you're saying because you're seeing things from a different angle.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? And there's always somebody who can take a view on what you're doing. You know, coaching's a very difficult thing, I think.
I get quite deep in that subject as well because I think being coachable is also like it's an individual, it's a trait within the individual, obviously, but I think it's an anxiety sometimes holding them back. And a lot of it, like the biggest one I see, obviously, as kids is the word confidence. They've got no confidence. And you'll ask why. And actually, you can't get the proper answer that you want because I know it's something usually internal. So it might be at home or as a parent. And
do you think they know the reason why?
Yeah, but they don't want to admit it. And I might dig someone out. I did speak about this on my podcast when I first did mine. And a lot of it can be a bit of ego. You know, like a parent ego, wanting them to overachieve, you know, kind of living their dream through their son or daughter. Yeah. That can be a problem. Yeah. That knocks confidence in so many different ways because, like, oh, well, their parent sees them as there when actually they feel down here. And then they don't correlate with that feeling. So when you're then coaching them and you're trying to give them these messages, I should be able to do that, or I can't do it, and there's that refusal to do it, or there's, I can already do that so easily, when there's still so much to learn. You know what you're on about, but being coachable is it's an hard thing to balance, I think, because people don't want to be told that they're not doing something right. And I don't understand that process either. I love it when people tell me I'm doing something a bit wrong because that's an opportunity for me to learn. Yeah. People don't correlate that together. Me and my partner, actually, I like to speak about this in my personal life. We've had loads of conversation about this, about like when you're in a relationship, and I think coaching is having a relationship, isn't it? I mean, you both know, like, you've probably got
coaching
really good
relationships, you've got to be careful. He comes to me the week and goes, didn't your missus say something about you were coaching her or something, or psychoanalyzing her?
Oh, yeah. We're having a discussion and she was just like, coach me. Don't coach me, Brad.
No, it's hard not to, though, isn't
it? Mate, it's so
hard. Especially if you see it clear as day, you're like...
I have to step away from Chloe sometimes, like, oh, no, like, you just do your thing.
I just go like husband hat on now.
Yeah. But no, like, even in a relationship, though, with me and her, we spoke about, like, why does it matter, like, if you're wrong? I don't know why people align that with such a bad thought. And that's something I sort of get it. It's like I say, we talk about this word ego, but like, what is that? Like, who are you proving it to? What is there to prove? And for me, like, I'm buzzing when I'm wrong because there's always something I can generate from that. And that's something definitely over my years I've turned completely around because I used to hate it when something went wrong. And now I welcome it, and it just helps me be so much better. Yeah, and there's going to be moments where I've reacted poor, but that, again, the day after, let me go and analyse that, let me look at that. And if all my players and even people hopefully watching this would look at it that way, I really believe that you'll progress in any department that you want to progress in.
I think coming to the confidence thing as well in kids, do you think a lot of it is to do with, like, obviously phones and tablets and screen time? We've done a lot of talk around that recently.
Yeah.
Is there something to that? Because I have a lot of chats with clients who've got kids now, and when I was a kid, on school holidays, you'd open the door in the morning at 8, 9 o'clock. I'd be out that door, I'd come, be back, make sure you're back at 5 o'clock, do you know what I mean?
When lights come on, street lights.
Yeah, exactly. Make sure you're back home. And sometimes I'd push it a bit too much, and I'd be an hour late for tea or something. I bet my mum's going to be fuming. She won't know where I am. She'd be worrying, sick about it. I walk through the door, she goes, tea's on table. And I'm like, oh, She didn't even care. She didn't even know where I got. She wanted another hour out of me.
I'm so grateful. Like, was it Find My Phone weren't a thing when we were kids?
Yeah.
Honestly, I'd been
But
terrified.
today's world, you would never do that. You would never leave a kid for like 5, 6, 7 hours at the park by themselves. You just wouldn't do it. I think
we're so aware of everything going on as well, aren't we? We're too aware, I think.
Yeah,
sometimes.
well, I think there's more freedom of information now. Like, so you can go into your phone, and we're bombarded with the worst stories in the world and the worst atrocities, and that just, I think, is fed into the way we parent now and how protective we are over our kids. It's just in our subconscious. I think it is with everyone, right? But I think, is that affecting kids' ability to be confident? So when they go and interact with their friends, is it through phones and text now? Is it through Snapchat rather than face-to-face chat? When we talk to you, like, you're a good conversator. We've had some great guests on this podcast, people who are good at talking, good at interacting. But we interact because I can see your eyebrows moving, I can see your face moving, I can see I can see mannerisms in you that I feed off and respond to. And how important is that when it comes to even like being in a game and looking at mannerisms of a game? Like, if you're a defender and you're just trying to get that attacker to go where you want to go, you're looking at a figure, you're looking at a body, you're looking at kind of small movements that are going to dictate something. If we're not, is that coaching, is that kind of ability to understand human movement and interaction, is it starting from when they're a kid, on the tablets, on the phones, with their interaction face to face? I think it's all breaking down a little bit.
Coach football before, Annie. Seems like it.
He knows.
He's like, he knows of it. No,
I'm just.
That's bang on. It's funny how you say it because, I mean, obviously when you go into, you've got to obviously be careful with how much depth you go into. I think that's obviously important. Like you'll know, you've got your probably high level athletes who are really super fit, and then you've got people who are just starting the fitness journey. So the way you process per session is important. Obviously, just from a coaching perspective, you got to know your client, know who you're working with, and so on. But yeah, just going on like on that you said there about them little details, especially when you've got someone like Jack. So obviously, talking about him, he's been at Sheffield United Academy since he was a baby kind of thing. Like he knows the game in and out from a technical perspective, mentally in tune, knows how to work hard, puts the work in away from just being at his sessions. And so you can go into that really deep analysis of like, right, body shape, posture. Obviously, a lot of it's in like how much you're scanning in football. So there's so many different details. And yeah, as a person, of course, it makes a difference. You've got to be invested within all departments of it, and not just think the technical side is the important bit. It's the mental side as well. I mean, the mental side now, I think, is just coming again, probably because we're more super aware of it. We talk about it a lot more in depth, don't we? Like, you look back at, like, you probably got them yourself, like your granddads, your dads. I know my dad, and he won't mind me saying this, but like, I can't speak to him about things in depth. Like, he's just not like made like that. He's like quite a simple-minded. I mean that in the nicest possible way. But like, just like as in, he just wants to crack on. If he has a bad day, it don't matter. You don't really see that like emotional side out of him, which I did see quite a unique side to him, especially when he went through a little bit of trauma, losing his dad and things. But it was nice to see him, and I've got him opening up a bit more now, which is a good thing. So. Yeah, I just think it's your environment. It's what what you put into, like I say, as a player, you've got to be open to that idea of being able to understand it, and that's why I keep going back to like that internally. That being coachable is so important, because I think it opens up so many different steps. Of oh God, I didn't know that. Yeah, I'll learn that now, and just putting your ego aside as much as you can. And by ego, I don't even mean like you put yourself on a pedestal. Just stop thinking you know things. Yeah. Be open like you don't know it. Yeah. And actually, funny I say that, because I tell my kids, like, the way I coach might be a unique way of doing it. I actually tell them, I say, right, imagine I never did this session before. What am I trying to give you here? And actually let them give it me, because then I know that they fully understand it. And that for me gives me confidence that they are listening, they're taking it in, they're really invested in my comments, they're looking at what I'm doing. So yeah, I'll say, like, imagine I've never played football, and I'll stand there just still as a statue. I'll go, right, let's say we're doing, I don't know, a receiving drill, and we're receiving on back foot. I'll be like, right, am I stood right? No, you need to be stood on your side, right? You need to make sure you turn your hips. Okay, now what? Widen your legs. And I'll make them do it all for me, like take me through the steps. And I found that works quite well, especially with youngsters.
That's awesome. Because when they say if you want to get good at something, you want to master it, teach it. If you want to master something, teach it, because then you understand every step, and you understand what other people struggle with. And that sometimes it's things and questions that they ask you that even you sometimes go, that's a really good fucking question. Like, you know what I mean? I never would have thought that. But yeah, you're right. And actually, that question relates into something else, and all of a sudden your understanding of it becomes a bit different, and you understand now what they're struggling with, and then you phrase it next time you go and teach it. So yeah, teaching is a great way of mastering skills. So having that for them is awesome. Another point, but it's completely lost my train of thought. So I'm going to pass on to Brad. Any more questions that you had for Rye?
Do you know what? Right, there's one. I feel bad, but in fact, I might save that till the end. It were a little bit more about pool, and it were a little bit of a hypothetical situation. But I mean, to speak about your football side of things, obviously you've got your private facility now, which is mega. I mean, how important was that opportunity where you were approached by Billy Sharp, got things off the ground there? That transition in between when did you get that opportunity with that?
Oh God, dates. I'm terrible with dates. It was like when I just finished university. So again, it was the year after uni. So what that'd be 21, 22-ish.
Yep.
Probably around that age.
Amazing.
So yeah, went from I was working at Goals, Sheffield, actually. Down in Norfolk, not far from here.
Yep.
And it was that was where I started, and I met him through that. And I was doing all the kids' parties. That was my first exposure to football coaching. So I was coaching, well, I said that obviously I did this stuff with Keith, but then I went and worked part-time at Goals alongside my college, to get more hours in and so on.
Goals is brilliant, it's been there forever.
Yeah, it's been there, yonks, hasn't it now? Yeah. But yeah, that was my first experience, and then obviously the camps came there, and Billy was a part of them, so I ended up going into leading the camp, and then next minute it was right, should we make it into a business? And fast forward, that was through COVID, we was developing it, and we ended up getting off the ground. And it was amazing, great experience, and managed the staff team and a lot of people. So it gave me that understanding of what to do, and again what not to do, because there was so many things I learned. And then just decided I wanted to make the leap into doing it on my own, to be honest. And I'm so glad I did. So I did I've had my facility now just under 2 years. So yeah, I started my coaching company in 2022, so amazing. 4 years ago, and never looked back. Just loved it, and having my indoor venue now, it's like I say, it's made it into a business, so it's given me a lot more balance of life and being able to enjoy life for what it is and so on. It was a great experience, and even given another proud thing now is obviously going into transitioning to. I don't have to word it again without sounding like big-headed, but like being a business runner and owning your sort of business as such, giving the youngsters opportunity. I've got a young lad who's 18, 19, and I remember the conversation. It was only a couple of months ago. He's actually a young PT, and he works in a local gym. And he's like, Ryan, I really want to get into coaching kids, coaching young athletes and so on. Proper good personality in him, and I don't see that often now. And that, again, that's another point that we could go on about that forever, couldn't we? About how passionate people are and what they want to desire to do. But Lewis, his name is. He come to me and he was so energetic on the phone. And then when I interviewed him online. He was just so I love this. I really want it. And I asked him. I said, what hours do you work? He worked every day of the week, 7 days a week. He worked in JD gym. He worked at one of the footballing venues, Cattonburn, SGP, worked in there part-time as well. And then he PT'd on his own, and then he was training himself. I'm like, mate, that's nuts, but that's so good to see, because I never see that at 18, 19-year-olds a lot. No. And anyway, he come on board, and I remember telling him, I said, he was like, I'm just wondering, how much we're getting paid, question. And he asked me right at the end, and I loved that, because I asked me first.
Yeah.
And I said, look, I'm paying you, I don't want to put it on here, but I pay you X amount. And he was buzzing. He was like, oh God, that's such a good rate of pay. I was like, well, if you work hard, you deserve it. And that, for me, just giving that feeling. And I do see the performance levels out of my staff as well now, because I'm so, obviously, like I said, what we said on this podcast, I love coaching, and I want all my lads or girls, whoever's working for me, to do the same and put that passion in. So I want what I give to reflect that. Just got them all new kit, got them a venue that they love and care about for themselves. I make them feel important. So like Lewis, I've said to him, look, if you want to bring anything to life within your personal training, so we're looking at starting some youth athlete session, youth S&C sessions, sorry. And I said, look, let's do it together. Let's sit down on a table and give you a chance to promote yourself as well. I ain't got that ego and passion to go, no, you need to do everything my way. I'm so away from that now, and everyone who I've got works with me as opposed and I don't like to tell them actually that they work for me. You work with me. That's what I said to them. It's I have that obsession of saying that. So no, you don't work for me, you work with me, and that's an important phrase that I want you to get right. So
what a brilliant way of doing it.
I like that.
So go on.
I was going to go back to that S&C thing. Is that a bit of a gap that you're seeing right now where you think, do you know, if we could tick that box, is that a lot of like a gap that you see a lot of your maybe young athletes missing?
I don't know how much like you obviously both do with youngsters, but it's obviously from a footballing perspective, you think, oh, like, let's just get them on the ball and play. But like from a movement perspective as well, like just like I've got a lad called Jake who's like my main S&C guy, and he's been a PT for a lot longer, and he's actually done a little bit in football clubs, so that how we got that conversation going. And just talking to him about how people move, how youngsters move, and he's like, oh God, there's such a big difference in when you teach them how to move properly.
Yeah.
And then I was seeing like the work he's put in, and we'll like review the kids after every term, and just seeing the difference in development and saying, oh, like some obviously don't like buy into it because they don't like being in the gym. They think, oh, I just want to be on a football. Again, it's that coachableness to be able to, like, okay, we'll invest in that. But the parents who are really into it and going like, oh, we love that. Like they're learning how to jump properly. They're learning how to land on the feet. Like again, balance, like you said earlier about, you know, stance and structure, how your body looks and your shape. And obviously at high level football, you're holding players off. You've got to be strong. You've got to know how to centre, you know, put your gravity in the middle and centre your mass sort of thing. So that for me, the S&C was like a great way of like, right, we can give the technical level to an high level. Now let's like give you opportunities to even develop your movement even better as well. And we're seeing a big difference. And again, even more in the elite players, because obviously when they come in, they're like, really learning things quicker.
This is certainly linked to, I suppose, some younger athletes that you work with about early specialisation. I always remember seeing a video of Novak Djokovic, and he's so skilled, like basketball, hurdles, like he does all sorts of stuff. And he didn't sort of go into tennis really early, he sort of tried other things. Do you find the benefits of that in terms of kids not just specialising really early, but maybe just try out different ways, find different ways to move? Like, is that something you see a lot?
Absolutely, I mean, the more sport you're open to, I think the better. You know, because like I said, there's all different. I mean, every sport has different movement patterns, doesn't it? You know, like, I mean, I'm really invested in like the tennis side as well, because I mean, you know, when you watch the high level tennis, I mean, I'd love to see it in person, but on telly, it's crazy. Just like how they slide and they can hit the ball still super well. I'm like, oh my God. And like, say some of them, like Djokovic, you know, I don't know how old he is. He's like 40-ish. Around that? He's getting old now.
He's late 30s, must be late 30s.
Late 30s, sorry, but like your top end 30s, isn't he? But like even then, he was like moving so well. I'm like, God, that is cracking. And he's sprinting full weight of the, you know, full length of the tennis thing to be able to knock it back. So like stuff like that, I was like, oh yeah, dead. I love buying into stuff like that. And yeah, I think exposure to as many sports as you can is always going to help you. It's never going to hinder you, is it? I suppose. Have
you seen the Ronaldinho documentary yet on Netflix?
No, I need to watch it.
No.
Hand on heart, my favourite player of all time. I love how he moves.
Player.
He's the main reason I really started watching Spanish football. I'm still borderline obsessed with Spanish football now. But in his documentary, they talk about, I think he was sat on bus like at PSG when he were there, and he was just like, you know, trying to watch some videos on an old screen. And you're watching NBA. Like, oh, you're a big fan of basketball? He's like, no, I'm just trying to figure out if I can do that move and get my body to move that way.
Wow.
And it was so unorthodox. And you look at it now, and like, to mention PSG again, like Kvaratskhelia, who was there at minute, I love watching him move.
Right player,
he's incredible.
Great
and
shout.
He's different. He's weird. He moves different.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that must be so hard to predict, especially if young players are like almost programmed from a young age. And then if you have somebody who is still equally as skilled but has got that curveball.
Yeah, there's a big talk at minute in there, because obviously that, I mean, people, even the viewers, like, who aren't probably like in the detail side of it, like, obviously from a coaching perspective, football has changed so much over the years, and obviously technology's took over a lot. You know, got big talks of VAR and how good that is, and over analysing as well. And we've kind of took out the natural feel of the game, I feel. Again, you know, I'm not like on the high level coaching perspective of like working in a club, but I've done a lot of, obviously my big niche is I work with personal, you know, from a personal perspective and one-to-one. And I like to give freedom as well. I like to say, look, go and express yourself, and you've got to keep that within it, because I think you can overanalyze all the time, and tactics are all massive now. And actually, I feel like we're taking away the responsibility of players. You know, again, that's another subject. But like, you know, even when you look on a manager being sacked, he's always on like, oh, it's the manager's tactics. Well, what about the players and the importance of how well they work? And even now, I think that's a bad message to put across, because as a young kid, if you're saying all the time, well, it's not your fault, it's actually what the coach is doing. I don't know, I might be overthinking that, but like for me, I just look at it and go, where's the responsibility in you? Like, where's your work ethic? How hard do you want to work? You know, when Man U went through all that bad period and they're swapping managers all the time, well, not every manager can be that bad, surely. And like, it's the effort what matters. You've got to put the work in as well. And even at elite level, that's still super important.
I mean, I'll not dob you in it here, but like, these are my words, not Hoppo's, by the way, but like the Chelsea project at the minute.
Yeah.
Right? I can't stand it. It's like they're just trading players, and like Rosinia, obviously he's come out of it, a very wealthy man, but you look at the way players behaved, and I'm sorry, right, as examples for young kids, that's horrendous. Like the way that they just down tools, and I listened to a podcast and they said you can tell these players aren't having Rosinia. They're not having him. They're not having him.
And that's the thing, like back in the day, like you look at, I mean, some of the dressing room clubs, like Neil Warnock, like that era when he was at United, it was like absolutely digging the life out of them. And I love that though. I'm like, that passion in him. You can, as a player, I would look at that and I'd be like, I've got to work hard for this gaffer now. Yeah. I do look at some managers. I mean, like we're seeing again. Don't get me wrong, he's got better manager than me. He'll know probably more than I do. But as a person, would I buy into that? I don't know if I would. But then, yeah, absolutely. The way the players reacting off the back of that is horrendous. But I feel like that's normalised now, and that's not right. You can just not play and just I'm not turning up to a game because I'm not getting this, that, and the other. Shocking, really.
You spoke about obviously like reaction to players, your players that you coach on the line, on the field, and so much of what they pick up is from the pros now as well, isn't it? Like the respect, the work ethic. Just, I'm sure you probably laugh some weeks at like just watching kids, and you can tell they've seen something, and they're trying to reenact something that's
celebrations.
What gets me bad is like now we're seeing a proper big trend. I mean, it's happened for a bit now. The trend of turning up to training in flip flops. Like when they're all watching the pros do it. They turn up in the flip flops, and then they're getting the little boot bag out, getting the boots out, putting the boots on. Like, proper player now with them. They're just rocking up. It's funny to be fair to watch it, but like just little, because obviously they obsess over it. They'll watch them, they appreciate it and great. But when then the bad behaviours come in, it's obviously a negative thing, and you've got to be careful around how much that's taken in.
No Gucci wash bags. Not
coming
in with them.
That'd be banned. That might be. Before I've had them round the neck.
But yeah, you're right. I mean, there's a massive change in power in clubs now, isn't there, as well? Because it used to be like, if you think about Sir Alex Ferguson, you can say that he was like the last of a dying breed, really, because he could have been sacked at any moment, but he ran the club, basically. He ran everything about that club. There was owners and there were people above him, but he did what Sir Alex said.
Yeah.
It wasn't really anyone above him. And as soon as he left, that's why United struggled, because there was a power vacuum. You had like, was he called Woodward? There was like director of sport coming in.
Yeah, that's right.
Owners, the Glazers trying to have, manager was in there now. Players were like, oh, he's gone, we can do what we want. Like,
that's how I feel.
You're seeing that a lot, and every time there's a manager change, there's this power vacuum, and I think that's what's happening at Chelsea, where new managers come in and players have been like, and players will literally be like, you might be out in 2 months' time. You might be here for 6 months to a year. And what again, players are so much more secure in their jobs than managers are.
It's way too easy. It's way too easy for them to just get by.
And I think you see that in the demeanour of the players on the pitch, off the pitch, on social media. You see them kids and academies picking that up. And I think the sport for football has progressed so much. I've obviously interviewed you. We've interviewed Joe Dixon, who's got a similar thing going on as well. And the grassroots standard of football is going up and up and up, and it's getting better. The quality of coaching, some of the things you're talking about now.
Yeah, well, we never had this when we were kids. What I do now.
So from the grassroots, it's coming up in terms of their ability, but their attitude and the mindset, and that I think is being influenced more from above you.
I don't think the standard's following it.
Yeah,
that's what I genuinely believe. I don't think the standard of the mentality side of it is following how much we are progressing from a technical and tactical standpoint, because I just think it's left out too quick, and it's even away from it's away from the pitch where you do that work. In my opinion, as soon as you step on there, because of what all you've done before it, to get on there and be ready to go, work ethic, work hard, sweat your head off, like that should be done prior to that session.
And I'm going to make a bit of a prediction now that anyone who comes to see you, whether it's from like a really early age, if they are fortunate enough to be picked up by an academy and they do get a huge knockback, they're probably going to be a bit more resilient, as opposed to maybe some young lad or girl who's been brought through an academy at like 6 or 7, which for me blows my head off.
Yeah,
that I find that just such a young age, and then the cutthroat nature of professional world where they go, sorry mate, you're not good enough. And then where's the infrastructure there? Have they ever had that coach just to put their arm around and say, it's all right. That doesn't define you as a person. Do you know what I mean?
There were a big documentary, I don't know if you saw it, of like, I think it was Brentford. Was it Brentford who did it? I'm not sure. And it was talking about like the releasing of players. And it was talking about like there's actually some young kids who would like go and commit suicide because of how bad it was. Wow. Honestly, it was like got to that level. Wow. And I understand it because obviously you've gone through, imagine you being there from 8-year-old and then you get released at 18, you think your career's over.
And, well, the hot thing is as well, when you're there from like 6, 7, 8 years old, everything you're working towards in life, because at 6 years old, 7 years old, you shouldn't really be working towards anything. Like, you should be working at just getting older. Getting older, learning a few things, existing, maybe learning some maths, some English, how to read and write. Like, from that age, you have this thing of like, and everyone tells you this, I'm sure at that age, when you get to 16, you can go pro. And your dream is about going pro. You've got this, and it's ripped away from you in an instant. And it doesn't surprise me at all. That. And I, honestly, it sounds horrible, I'm surprised more don't. Probably shows how good are clubs at kind of investing into that aftercare and that support at 16 years old.
From what I know, obviously, like I say, for me, I've never gone into club football because the academy system for me, I don't enjoy it personally. As in, from my experience, I did do a bit of it at United, and it weren't a bad, and at all. I was in the foundation phase, like sort of supporting the academy. I just didn't see me like having the impact, and again, because I was so obsessed with like this feeling of being able to have my stand on him, that probably was a little bit of the ego speaking, but like I wanted to make sure the session was like, I really wanted to do it in that way. Whereas in academy, you're led by your academy managers, you've got to do this sort of syllabus and so on, and I just didn't feel like that would be for me. And I don't like letting people down as well, so I didn't want to see players just disappear out the door when, like say, they're 9, 10-year-old, because that happens. And I then pick them up now, which is, people come to me, they've been released from so-and-so, we need some more. And I like that, being that on the sort of fringe, if you like. Anyway, going back to, speaking about like the aftercare, I think it's got better from what I know. And obviously now when they're a scholar, they're learning on the job sort of thing. So they do, from what I know, like a BTEC or A-level kind of thing. So if they do get released, so what happens typically now, you'll get to your 16-year-old, then you'll get offered like a scholar deal, which is like usually a year or 2-year scholar. And then after that, you'll get a pro contract. And obviously, you can get released after being a scholar. You can obviously get a 1-year pro. Like Jackie's had a 1-year pro at United, and then obviously after that, then it gets renewed again. But again, the contract's so short; it'll never. Yeah. It's so like you said, cutthroat is the right word. You don't know where you're going to be.
It's funny. It sounds like you are the aftercare to a certain degree for some players. Like when they come into you at 16, 17 years old.
Get a lot of them.
What's that like? Have you got to be quite careful in the way you word things?
I kind of like it, because it gives me a challenge.
You've also got to be quite upfront with them as well. Like it's a good lesson to learn at a young age, isn't it, about like rejection and it's not all sunshine and roses.
I had a lad recently, and funnily enough, I've had him for ages. I'll not name him, but like he was at a club for, like say, probably 7, 8-year-old. He got released when he was 13. World come crashing down, absolutely emotional wreck. Already struggled with quite bad with little bits of anxiety, bless him, and I knew him in and out anyway. But like it really changed his view on football for a certain amount of time. But now he's playing back in grassroots and he's absolutely thriving. Put him in a different position. So it was at like left back for this team for the academy he was playing at. Gone to now playing in number 10. Totally different. Never played there. But that's the other thing. What's the downside is the coaching within the academy can be poor. Completely set these kids up in the wrong way. Release them. I don't really care about you anymore. And then now they've got to go and find themselves out again. And again, he's gone from a number 3 to a number 10, right down the striker. Absolutely loving it. Taking all the free kicks, scoring goals. Like never done that. You've playing left back. But just stuff like that. It's going to be a positive experience. Don't get me wrong. And the academy system in England, we're proud of it because it's so good. But there's always that big dark side to it as well.
Could academies do more? Could big clubs do more to work with people like yourself, do you think?
I think so, yeah.
Do they actively have any people they work with? Or is it literally...
very hard to do.
Is it literally like, you released, see you later?
Yeah. But even like internally, like even Jack, he probably don't like me dabbing him in for it. If they found out I was working with Jack, they won't like it too much because they want everything to be in-house. It's very much like their own little, I don't want to say cult, but like it's them, and then you're like an outsider. I would never get invited into the academy to do a one-to-one with Jack, for example. They won't let me do it.
I suppose it's the controllables, isn't it?
Of course it is, Like they're all obviously now they, like I say, with all the science behind it and so on, they'll have their own systems and they will work. Don't get me wrong. And there probably is one-to-one coaches now within the academies. But from what I know of, obviously working with Jack so closely for the years, I find out a lot more about it, and he tells me what he's doing day to day. There's probably not as much contact time as what I believe could benefit. You know, position-specific work on a one-to-one environment is super beneficial. You're getting such a condensed 1 hour all about you, as well as then going into your group training as well, which is important. But obviously, one-to-one environments, I believe it's your platform to then learn. It's all about you in that moment. So we do see a lot of success. And the pro, like I said with Jack, there's things that he will miss out. And I'll analyse his video clips as well. So I'll then bring that into a session, make the session all about that. And he's seen a big benefit from it, and hopefully that proves a little bit of its worth, sort of thing. Yeah, from a club perspective, I've never had any contacts off United or anything like that to say, oh yeah, we can go in and do that. But I won't even bother asking. It was just straight now.
Yeah, it reminds me a little bit like I work with some great physios, like George on last week. I go and see Tom. I've got a physio over in Broomhill that I go and see. But there's a few physios that I've had some run-ins with. Same thing where someone's picked up an injury. And I've been like, look, I can recommend some people that you go and see. And they'll be like, well, I've got this person that I can go and see. And they can either get them on health insurance or there's someone they know. And I'm like, okay, perfect. And I really like to work quite close with the physio because I want to know what you're recommending. I actually want to know what you're recommending. So maybe I can do it with them in sessions. I can show them how to do it. I think it always works really well. And there's a few physios that have just... One physio actually actively told this client to stop training with me. I was like, I know. I was like, he was like, I think he's damaging you. I think he's really messing you up. And I was like, I know we're not, but I would love to pick her brains. And I said to the guy, I said, just go and chat with her. Here's my email, my number. I actually gave him my card. I give him my card, and let's have a conversation. I'd love to talk to her. You come back. She didn't want to speak to you. Yeah. I was like, really? I was like, I'm not in a hostile way. I genuinely want to know what her theories are around that. And she goes, she didn't want to talk to you now. She's. I was like, wow, that's fascinating. That she's just not got the time of the day for it. I mean,
it's very strange.
I think there's a certain sense of like hierarchy, and you probably notice that as well in the clubs. The coaches at United probably think that who's this Ponzi coach doing? What's he think he's doing this? Taking our clients and coaching our lads. What does he know that we don't know? We're a Premier League.
Well, there's a big stigma as well with football, with like if you haven't played the game to an high level. And don't get me wrong, like I'll be honest and say my playing career weren't fruitful. I didn't do a lot. I've been in academies when I was young. But from 16, 17, that's when I invested in the sort of probably, let's say, the more educational route where I've gone down and got my badges. But what I know I can impact that player. And I can't just work. I mean, I've had probably, I don't know how many off the top of my head, but probably 10 professional players over the last 2 years come through my door, 3 years. And I know every one of them has walked out a better player. So I must have some impact. And I trust myself anyway to know that. Yeah. So, but yeah, you're right. It's an hierarchy.
I know that physios over there going, all these bloody personal trainers, and he's been in the industry a year.
It's a judgy world, isn't it?
Yeah, he's been in the industry a year or so. He's messing people up. I'm like, I've been doing this over a decade. You know what I mean? Like, I've not many people survive this long, let alone can recommend people to you. So it is tough when you come against those barriers where I just want to work as a team to get this person to where we need to get them to. It's all about the kind of person, but you notice that hierarchy.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, even it happens in life, doesn't it? People will think they're better than you.
Egos like
all the time. For me, I've always been like level-headed. Like I'll never look at someone big, let's say above me or whatever you label that as, let's say someone who's more successful in a monetary value, but I just don't value people like that. Like you two are, I value exactly the same, and then I would value someone, let's say, unfortunately, who might be homeless, for example. You get treated any different. And even if you're a professional footballer, you don't get talked to any different. Me and Bill, admittedly, and even with Jack, we had a good relationship. He was come play snooker with Billy. At his house, I never speak to him any different to I talk to my mate. I don't look at it like that, and I don't know why. For some reason, the world is like that for me. I get that there's going to be certain positions where you can say they've got importance if you're running a set amount of people, but that don't make your value anymore. No. We still end up in the same.
PM, I'm saying.
Yes. Oh my God! This subject though gets me though, because it's like you don't end up in you will end up in an hole at the end of the day.
Well, I think a lot of it comes back to this thing we've done a big podcast on, which is like the manosphere. Did you watch the Louis Theroux?
I saw a little bit of it. I mean, probably do me head in.
I'm surprised. Knowing how your views and how you're talking now, it ain't up your street. It's the complete opposite, because it's
like
this
power tripping.
Yeah, basically, it's like that's all it is. It's like putting a value on a person, especially men, based on like their income and the stature and who they are in life. And all the guys that were interviewed by Louis Theroux on that documentary were all basically like that. they valued themselves based on their stature.
Yeah, no.
And you get it a lot in, like, I listen to a lot of the podcasts and some people are around the Hollywood world, and they say it's funny because you'll go into these rooms, all these Hollywood stars, and these like B, C, D list celebrities will be talking to you, but they're not really talking to you. They're scanning the room for the next person who's like slightly above where you are. And then when that person comes through, they go, oh, anyway, nice to speak to you. And they're straight over to that bigger celebrity and a bigger celebrity. Yeah. And they're working their way around the room. And I think people are like that in life, aren't they, a little bit? They're just, you know, they're waiting for someone bigger to give them that opportunity. Where actually, one thing we've realised interviewing so many people on this podcast is everyone's got an awesome story. Everyone really at the root of it. We're all the same. We're all just trying to be the best
and
people.
there's room for everyone to be successful. Yeah. Like, I don't see why I need to compete against anything. Don't get me wrong, there's going to be times, of course, I used to be terrible for it, where I look at people doing well and go, oh my God, I'm not there yet. And like, in a way, like mentally, I wouldn't ever drag them down because I'm just not that way inclined. But in my head, I was like, oh God, I'm not doing enough. And why are they doing so well? But now I'm just like, why? What do I need to do that for? Like, it doesn't actually benefit you in any way. You just got to be a better person for yourself. And like you said, that'd drive me nuts. I won't want to be in that room.
Well, you mentioned it a few times about us having other coaches on as well. And, you know, sometimes people might think like, you know, why would you get someone else on who's potentially going to be a competitor to you? But
I got that question really early of this podcast. They're like, why are you having so many coaches on? I'm like, why not? Like, they've got an awesome story. They've got a great philosophy.
They're really into what we're into.
Yeah. Why would I talk to them?
Yeah, I actually, on my podcast channel, I did one with Ross Barrows coaching, who's up in Barnsley. He's a great private coach. I had another one called Mitch Carlton, and we're all private coaches. Yeah. Mitch is actually on the same next pitch as me, and I had him on. And now I'm working with him. We've got something coming up, actually. I'm not going to announce yet, but we've got something coming up. We're working together. And he's he's got the same type of client, same everything. Yeah. And you might think I'm working against me, so I might be, pushing people away, but we're not. I feel like that's good. We can work with people hand in hand. I'll learn off Mitch learns off me, and we can make something good together. And I just feel so much more relaxed now. I've got that sort of idea to be able to do that. I don't see people as a competitor. I just see them just being successful in their own right, and that's okay.
Yeah, it's that self-assurance, isn't it? And I mean, is there anyone who you would be starstruck by the way? I'm
what, from a coaching perspective?
Just in general, anyone you'd meet and be like, Jesus Christ, that's whoever.
I haven't really had it. No, I mean, probably like when I've met like for the first time, but then from again, even on a talking perspective, I've always had that where I don't value people higher or lower. I don't know what it is. I just don't do it.
Well, Brad's confessed his major interview.
I mean, if I met like Steven Gerrard, he's my idol, so like probably I'd get a bit nervous meeting.
That's my mate. That's mine. Well, Steven Gerrard's got the same birthday as me.
And
I'm a big Liverpool fan. So Stevie G for me will be like
my favourite number is number 8, and that's why.
Is it?
So I was like, I've got it.
Yours is Billy Sharp, isn't it?
I'd love Billy on. Yeah, seriously, like Billy.
That'd be good.
Because I've watched him for so many years, and like watching him on pitch, it felt unworldly. Because I'm like, he seems worlds apart from just like in stature and in ability to what I am. Like, with this big, broad, powerful. Well, he still is, to be fair. Still pretty strong.
Still doing well, I know, yeah.
This amazing striker, and I'm like, complete opposite. I'm tall, gangly defender, and I'm like, him coming up against me, if ever we played against each other, that'd be a nightmare for me. I'd be like, Jesus Christ, you're everything I'd hate to play against. And I just admired him so much. Like,
Hoppo, get a text sent over, man. Get a text sent over, come on.
But no, I think it's that where I think there's a lot to be said about football, that it's so tribal, and like he's a legend in EFL, he's a legend in at United, but he's just skin and bone. Do you know what I mean? He's just gone on to do some amazing things, and I think that's how it should be. But have you got any coaching idols? Anyone who used to watch growing up and be like, I love their energy?
Obviously, so the way Steven Gerrard came in, obviously I had my stepdad and my mum were together quite early. As my mum and dad split when I was like young, so I've always had like two families. And my stepdad's side, they were all Liverpool fans. And living at home with my mum, I naturally went into supporting Liverpool, and obviously watching Gerrard as a young kid. And then I used to love actually like Rafa Benitez, like back in them days. Obviously, and took us to like the final week when we beat that mad game. I always remember that game, watching it on telly, like when we 3-0 down against AC Milan. I mean, what a moment that was. And then obviously, then more recently, I would say like your Jurgen Klopps, like your Peps. I love the attitude of them. I think that's key. It's like I said, for me, I was putting in personal experience. I couldn't buy into someone such as like Liam Rosenior. I just don't think he talks too softly for me. Yeah. I don't know what it is about it. I'm not trying to degrade him, but
no, I agree.
I want someone to get me going. Like, bang, come on.
We've had managers at Liverpool who have not been as excited by like even Kenny Dalglish. Like, there wasn't. I think even though he's a legend at a club, when he was a coach there in his kind of like more recent times, I wasn't like as enthused by him. But Rafa Benitez, there was something. You can't fake passion. You can't fake that like. I want to win and I care about winning. I care about his club.
He had that, didn't
I care about his team. Rafa Benitez had that. Pep's got that.
Yeah.
Jurgen had that. There's a composure about Jurgen, but there's a deep sense of like this matters to me. And you spoke about like who was the United manager back in the day? Warnock. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Warnock.
You just don't get that nowadays. It's all like a little bit. Softly, catchy monkey now, isn't it? Like, whereas
for me, I think we've got lost in different ideas. That I think tactics and certain ways of playing is more important than actual passion and drive. It's like you need like weird analogy, but you need something to press the pedal. Push the gas in a little bit, 100%. And you've got to get your energy to go first. Like, it's all right, you say, no, let's play this way, let's do that. If your players aren't ready to work for you, you can't. It doesn't matter what you put in, it's not going to work. And when I look at like managers like that, like you look at Pep, and I mean, if you ever watched the All or Nothing one, Man City, and I love the dressing room talks. He's so on him, like bam, 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 and people might think, oh, that's over. So I just love that. If you can't buy into that as a player, you're in the wrong sport. I just really, your manager wants to win more than anyone. Go and win.
Have you seen the Arteta one?
No, I haven't. Yeah,
have you seen the one where he pulls out the light bulb?
Oh yeah, I saw that recently. Actually, I saw one of the training ones.
I don't think I could do that.
He's got some funny little ways of working.
I feel like Arteta's just trying to be. I mean, obviously he's worked under Pep for years, but he's trying to be Pep too much. Like you can see his animation, and again, I think there's a fakeness. A
little
bit
forced, isn't it?
Yeah, I
do get that. Yeah,
and he's in the dressing room, and he's trying to put. Yes, it's like analogy where he goes, "Look," and he's like got something he's holding, and the electricity's going through him, and he's putting his light bulb on. And he's telling the team, it all flows. When we work together, we flow together. And the whole team's going, the fuck is he doing that?
I know.
But it is, you can't fake that passion. And clear with you in everything that you do. Let's go back on to some Paul next.
Yeah, go for it.
What have you got coming up? What's the competitions that you're training for now?
So in 2 weeks, I've got the second professional tour. So I play on the IPA, which is International Pool Association.
Where's the coolest place you've played?
The coolest?
Yeah, like abroad, somewhere over here. Was it a venue?
Well, actually, I missed out on it and I was gutted. So when I was under 20, I think I was like 21, I trialled for England and got in the England team to play nationally. And I was actually meant to play in the Nations Cup in, where was it now? I think it was Malta. And I missed out on it because I had to go somewhere for university and I was gutted. I'd never gone back on that. But I never went and picked up again because playing for England, you've got to like play county, and then when you play county, you trial for England and so on. I just didn't have the time or work to do it. So that's why I kind of left it. Obviously, I had that big gap. So I never went back into it, but it is something I'd like to do. And I've potentially got something coming up where I have got something to do with England shortly, which I'll keep quiet until I know it's definite. But from playing this year, we've just done Newcastle, so all of them are probably more Great Britain as such, because you've got Scotland in there as well. So it's Coventry, Newcastle. So I've just done first. Newcastle tour is next. No, I've done that wrong way. Newcastle first, Coventry second. Then you go to Glasgow. That's the third tour, and then the fourth tour is back in Coventry, and then the fifth one's in Isle of Man, which is like the grand final. So it's over 5 events. You've got a pro event, and then you got an open event as well. So an open event being the pros and amateurs. So on a weekend you've got 100, probably 200 plus players, or plus the female players as well. Obviously, they've got their own segregated events. But you're playing the Pro Tour, so you got one event on that, and then you got the Open, and then you accumulate ranking points, and that will, basically give you a ranking over the year.
It's a massive commitment, that, isn't it?
Yeah, it's huge.
How long does each event last? So when you're in Coventry, how long is that?
So it's like a weekend. It's you go down typically on a Thursday, you play Friday, and then you'll play till Sunday if you get into the late stage of the event. So there's a lot of tables there. It's a good setup. Obviously, it's mainly in hotels. So you've got the big sort of main function room and this 32 plus tables. So there's a lot going on. Wow. Really good professional setup as well. Really well presented. You've got an arena table. It's streamed all on YouTube as well, so if I get on that, I'll have to let you know. That's all on there. And then obviously, like I said, at the back to the back end of the season, you get a ranking. If you finish, I think now this year as well, because we've gone through a transition on the IP of new, what would you call them, owners or leaders of the organisation kind of thing. It's swapped over. So the rankings have sort of stayed the same for a year, and then now I think it goes to a promotion sort of relegation. So you finish bottom 8 of the pros, you relegate down to an amateur, and then top 8 amateurs will go up. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
you've got
it's almost like a bit of a league kind of thing.
Yeah, and it should work like that in my opinion. It's good because it gives you drive to go and achieve. So yeah, it's tough, and like I said, I play every week, not as much as I want to, but I do put the time in now.
Do you have a table at home, or do you go somewhere?
I'm sponsored by a club in Sheffield now, so Club Bays in Sheffield actually, in Bayton it's called. They've just invested in a lot of tables there. Really good guys down there as well. Proper, well looked after. You know, they don't open till the evening and let me in early in the morning, so I can go in before work, which is helpful. So yeah, it's nice to have a proper setup in Sheffield as well, because we've not had a pool venue. To say it's the home of snooker, obviously I know snooker is well looked after, but pool we've never had a venue. We've had a few. There's a few snooker venues where are more, again, specifically snooker, odd pool table, but that's an actual venue which is dedicated solely to pool. So
I didn't know you were based there, mate, either. That's like, I could walk there.
Yeah, it's not far, is it? I know you would have, sorry. It's nice, yeah.
Are you really going to play him?
Oh, yeah, I know. I play left-handed.
I'm thinking no hands. That's only chance of
There used to be, what was it? Was it Riley's on just off Ecky Road?
Yeah.
I used to go there, because that's changed hands now, and it's not Riley's anymore, it's something else.
There's a few what's going to transition. Spot On as well, I think that's in... Is it now? Gleedless Townend. Spot On, it's like up some stairs. Again, that's more specific snooker. Obviously, like Steelers Sports Bar, which is like, but that's more of a pubby vibe, you know what I mean? You've not really got.
Have they got tables now?
They've got pool tables in, they have quite a few. That's where I actually worked there. It was my first job. That's kind of another thing what sort of set my pool journey on its way. Because I used to play it. I just took me, funny story, I just put my cue in the back of my bag and I had a pen. And it was like poking out me like that. I just like driving down.
Did you not unscrew it?
People probably think I've got like a gun in my backpack or something. I had to unscrew it, but obviously you put it in. It was like a 2-piece, and you slide it in my backpack because it was so long. Still, it was just poking out my head like this.
I feel like nunchucks. That's what I'm doing now. With nunchucks coming out your back.
No one ever mess with
you. Just go there and then after work, go and have a few hours, and that got me going into that. That was when I was like playing around like the C team as well. So obviously Club Bays at the time weren't a thing. It's only just come into it now. So yeah.
Is there a dream? Let's go. I want to do one of them dead or alive questions. If there's any like celebrity dead or alive, you'd love to have a couple of frames of pool week. Who would you go with?
I think one of my pooling idols is called Chris Mellin. If you've ever heard of him, but he's like, he used to be a snooker pro. He's got quite a good YouTube channel as well. Actually, I watch a lot of that stuff. He's like one of the best at all disciplines. So you've got like American pool, English pool, snooker. There's another one at the minute called Chinese A-ball, which is like hayball is like a massive thing now. The Chinese are paying ridiculous money. I mean, the Grand Masters event is actually more money to win that than it is the snooker world championships. I've just gone on.
Wow.
So yeah, for pool, but the Chinese, mate, are just, oh my god, a different breed of that game. But they literally play it from every hour of the day kind of thing. They bring them up on it, don't they? And I wish England were a bit like that, to be honest, with sport. I think we don't invest in it like we should.
No.
You know. But yeah, sorry, going back to Chris, he actually came for what's it called, like an exhibition down at one of the local clubs and met him. Such a nice guy, you know. Nice. Proper good guy, been through it all, you know, lived in America, done all that. He played for the Europe team on the Moscone Cup, so I don't know if you're aware of the Moscone Cup. It's like Ryder Cup.
Okay.
You know Ryder Cup for golf, where America play USA. Europe play USA. It's the same format, so Europe against USA, and they make it a big thing. They do it in England at one year, and then the next year it's back in America.
Fantastic.
And like Chris were like part of that. So when I was young and I was watching Moscow, and he was on it, and then I met him properly, and I'll throw this one in. I had a frame against him, and I broke and cleared up on it. I was like,
did you?
I always remember that moment. So I was like, that was sick. That.
Class.
He's like, you play well there, but yeah, now he's on the other organisation to me. But yeah, he's, you know, such a good curious. Like he'd be someone I'd love to pick his brains about.
He's gone and drowned his sorrows at bar after that.
That's it. He's like,
I'm sure he's forgotten about me anyway. He's won that much.
I'm surprised Joe Rogan's not got a mention yet. I know he absolutely loves his pool, doesn't he?
I was actually going to mention,
My stepdad told me about that, because I don't watch him, but like my stepdad said he loves pool.
He loves it.
Well, he was asked the other day, he said, he had a guest on, and someone said, if you weren't doing the podcast and you weren't doing anything else, and you had no commitments, what would you do? And he said, I'd be a professional pool player. Because I think he's really good, apparently he's really good. He's a pool table, and he's like, hook him up, mate.
See if he's free.
Anyone who's into pool, he loves him. His knowledge of pool is really good, because I think he grew up in pool halls around Boston. And I think in America it's a weird place because pool halls are quite prolific over there.
Yeah.
And
Well, they don't play any snooker near enough actually over there, do they?
You get a lot of like sketchy characters in those pool halls, like gangsters and just sketchy people. And
they play for daft money and stuff. There used to be a documentary back in the day. I can't remember who it was. I think Ronnie did it. It was like Ronnie's like pool hustle. Have you ever seen that?
No.
Ronnie O'Sullivan went and he was like playing people, like probably a bit more organised than just picking up the random.
Was he hustling it?
Yeah, he was like hustling because they didn't know who we were. So over there, they don't even care about snooker.
Yeah.
And I remember the documentary used to go and just play them and play rubbish on purpose. Next minute, just banging everything in. It's like, it's crappy.
Amazing.
Yeah, but like in America, obviously it's way better for pool, and then like I say now China. So you've seen a lot of good English players travel over to China to play in these A-ball events because they're paying a bit more like an actual full-time amount of money if you get deep in an event.
I guess you've got to shift over there.
Yeah, I'd love to do it, but like realistically, it's a lot of sacrifice. You're staying over for a long time. So they're not just like weekend events. They're like a long time away. I know someone who does it, and he's like flying goes to China. Then there might be a hit because Hairball now they're starting to invest in going into Europe as well.
Okay.
And then he'll fly over to somewhere else, then he'll do an event there, so you're never home for like months, and it's just like, I can't do that.
Yeah.
I value life
if you're a young single lad, then maybe that'd be great. Do you know what I mean?
But got my house now and like settle with my missus. Like I don't want to, I'm happy with my life.
You're rocking the boat a lot there.
Exactly. I don't want to do that now.
Yeah.
I won't upset her.
It's funny you mentioned that. Obviously, Ronnie O'Sullivan playing pool. What's harder, going from snooker to pool or pool to snooker?
Oh, pool snooker, without a doubt, and that's even me saying that. There is some good snooker players, like so obviously at club actually, funnily enough, there's a couple of lads who are solely snooker and then they've seen the pool come in and like, we'll invest in this.
Okay.
The difference is so different.
Is it because it's smaller? Is it bigger table?
It's just different, isn't it? Like with pool, obviously, it's so you've got a group of balls. So if I'm playing someone, I'm on reds, they're on yellows. So, but what they do influences my play as well. But like whereas snooker, you're going for the same ball. Does that make sense? So you're hitting the same reds. It's a point game as opposed to you've got to finish by putting the blight. So it's a lot of like route planning in pool, and obviously knowing how you're going to get to this ball, take that ball, that'll free up that ball. Yeah. Whereas snooker, it's more like one red then the colour, one red then the colour. It's a lot more. I say spontaneous. I don't undermine it. It's so difficult, but it's a different way of playing. So you see a lot of snooker players come over to pool and they think they can pot everything, and they completely car crash. I mean, I had a game against someone the other day, and I'm not going to mention him because I feel bad saying it, but I played him first to 21 at pool. Okay. Really good snooker player, can knock like 100 breaks in. Superb at snooker, right? But didn't have a pool brain. He's developing it now because I've been helping him a little bit, and he's a great player as well. Good, such a pure Q. He's better than me at snooker. I gave him 10 starts to 21. I beat him 21-7, so obviously 21-17, but he only won 7 frames, and he will look to him get 7. Yeah. It's totally different game, you know what I mean, in comparison to like playing snooker. It's more of your long potting, your safety game, and obviously a lot bigger table. The angles balls are bigger. Whereas pool's a little bit more delicate, and you've got to figure out where to be on your next ball. If you're slightly out of position, it does hinder your next shot. You've got not as much room to work in. So listen, it's in depth. It is totally different. But I'd say the transition to pool to snooker, I won't go and beat like your amateur snooker players at all. Like no chance, because they're just that good. But then bring them to pool and I should beat them most times, I would say. Do you know what I mean? But
I've got a confession actually.
Go on.
I should be alright at snooker, but I'm really not. Because when I was younger, we had a full-size snooker table in our house.
Love that.
But the thing is, when you're 12 years old, a full-size snooker table is fucking massive.
I can't even see what we're ending.
I know. That's a shout down. What colour's that ball down there? Is that mine or yours?
I love it.
Yeah, we just messed about on this table. But it come with the house that my dad ended up getting, and but it really helped you get your eye in for stuff. So when I go and play at like pool halls now, if we go and play at like common room or something, which is not even the most glamorous table, but just for some sports stuff. Like you know what you're doing, you kind of handle yourself a little bit with it, and you know where positioning wise you need to be.
Definitely.
If you could play anyone in the footballing world, who would that be?
Great question.
What, play him at pool?
Play him at pool, yeah.
I've heard this. So, why do you think? I've heard. Is it Keenan Dewsbury Hall?
Okay.
He's brilliant at pool. Apparently,
is he?
Yeah. I think he's like basically sounds very similar to yourself. Like, and he just hustles people.
Yeah.
So when everyone
I love
like,
hustling.
Well, on sports
clicked into it, they were like, ooh.
Yeah, on sports stars, Gerwyn Price has just been announced for the UK Open.
Okay.
So we obviously, Gerwyn Price, dart pro.
Yeah.
He's going to the UK Open for the 9-ball, and apparently he loves pool.
Oh, fair.
So
wow.
yeah, there's a lot of cross, I suppose they like
These
that.
are just lads who spend too much time in the pub.
Yeah,
that's all it is. That's all it is.
A lot of it is that though, dart play. Yeah, my dad used to be a pub. That's how it was started. Funnily enough,
100%.
weirdly. But that's pretty much. I'd say like 70-80% of people who play pool is because of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I can't really think who I'd like to play. I'd probably just pick like Gerard, just because I want to pick his brains on how great a person he is.
Yeah.
Which last
And
week,
you'd be nice to beat him at something, because I'm sure he'd be everything else in football.
My biggest issue with CVG though is he'd be a bit dry. Like I think he's got a good sense of humour, but I think if he'd come on here or we started playing with him, I think he's very big time, and I think he comes across that way a little bit sometimes.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah. Like
He's
now
been doing a bit of commentary now. Have you seen? He's actually
I've
been
seen,
on.
yeah. I think
Seems
now
quite well spoken.
now he's doing all like. Is he still in Saudi or is he not doing that anymore?
No, he's come back
Is
ages
it?
ago.
Is it?
Yeah. Left that a while back. He's not in management anymore.
Is it
He's
not?
that's what I mean. He's doing a bit of commentary for. I saw him on Sky Sports a bit ago. He was doing a bit of that. So.
Yeah. I think I've got a feeling he might just be a bit big time.
Yeah,
for it.
maybe so.
you're thinking Balotelli, aren't you? You'd rather get someone who's a bit volatile.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
What's it
Okay.
like setting off fireworks?
I want to push a few buttons.
Which when I started doing some research for you last week, all I was thinking is, right, how can I combine this like football world and pool world that you've got? And then I saw a conversation from Dave Allen.
Okay.
Right, it's a very loose thought that I had. You know who Dave Allen is?
No.
So he's a boxer. He's
Oh yeah.
into
No,
white
sorry.
line.
When you say boxing, I do
And
recognise.
someone asked him a question on TikTok, and they're like, "Who would win, right, in an half marathon between Luke Littler
Oh, I saw this.
and Mo Farah?
that's
That
right,
every
yeah.
mile you've got to get 5:01.
Yeah.
So you've got to finish on a double. All right, who's winning? And I think that's one of the greatest questions of all time.
That's really good.
And I want to pontificate with you lads now. If there's a pool equivalent where you're like,
Oh God.
pool football, where it's like you've got to do.
Was it a half marathon? You said.
Yeah.
And every mile.
Yeah.
So you got by 13.
So Luke Littler's clearing up in a minute.
I'm trying to think.
All right,
Yeah.
He's nine down
So Mo
finishing.
Farah has to hit a 5:01 every time he stops at a
But
point.
I think. My mate's got a dartboard at his house. We've been there for an embarrassingly long period of time trying to hit a double.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, trying to hit a double's fucking really hard.
really tough.
But can you
Really
imagine?
fucking
Look,
hard.
so Dave Allen's reached out to Luke Littler and gone, right, Luke, are we doing this for charity? He's like, yeah, I could just walk it. And I believe him.
No, I do.
I think he could.
I actually think he could.
Genuinely,
I think he'd walk. Yeah, I do. Rather than Mo Farah trying to hit 5:01 13 times.
Yeah.
I think he'd probably walk it in
Yeah.
that amount of time.
So
Absolutely.
I'm thinking if there's like a pool equivalent we can organise with Hoppo.
Oh God, yeah. I should get a go. Yeah, I don't know actually. I'd probably say like a break and clear up would be something like what I find a lot of people would find tough. But I don't know if you could vet that. Like if you had to say right, you have to do one break and clear per mile or whatever. I think that would be hard for someone.
We have to bring a rower into pool hall and be like, you got to do 10,000 metres on a rower, but every 1,000 metres you got to clear up.
Yeah, that's a good way of doing it. Actually.
See how that goes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'd probably say like I would say Mo Farah struggles there.
I
100%.
think so.
Depends how
yeah.
good he is at darts, obviously.
I feel like would he practice?
I don't think he'd be very
just out
good.
of spirit, you can't practice.
No.
Luke Littler can't you can't go on some runs, Luke.
Yeah.
Like Mo, you can't
think if
practice
you
your
have-
darts. Just see it in its
Playing
pure form.
darts, I even I have a little throw at it, and like to think how good they are at being that accurate for so long, it's
Yeah.
unbelievable.
I'd
Solid.
love it if Mo Farah was like hustling everyone. He's been down his local league and child, throwing darts for the
Waiting
last
for
10
it.
years.
Smokes
Yeah.
him
Oh, but let's put a wage on it, shall we? He's half a mil on the wager.
I'll do a full marathon, Luke. You do
Love that.
But yeah, I mean, we're all coaches here. I always like to hand over to coaches and sort of see if they've got anything that me and Ryan can help support people with. Anything that you think coaching world's missing right now that maybe we can do more of. Because I'm cautious that me and Ryan, we always try and bring the passion, but after sat here with you, I don't think I bring enough passion. I'm not gonna
Well,
lie.
that's a nice thing then, yeah. I just think being more like I think that's a big thing is being level with people, like honestly, because I think when you could like say it's a bit like being grounded, but then also knowing your old value, right? I think that's what people struggle to separate when they get this sort of hierarchy of thinking as such, if that's what you want to call it. it's like that. But why? I don't get the why there has to be a power imbalance. I can listen to anyone knowing that they have got a point, or they might have a very valid point. But the minute you start holding people in different categories, or they're there and I'm up here and I'm not, you start not listening to that. But the grassroots and the groundedness of you is what keeps you sane, in my opinion. Such as, you know, your family units, and that's always been integrated to you as a young kid. And you look back at them things, what you might learn at like 8, 9 years old, to say your please and thank yous, to hold your door open for your elders and stuff like that. And you go, well, that lesson I learned then, am I going to look at that now and go, well, I'm 29 now, I'm better than that? Yeah. You're not. I'm going to hold it as just as important a value as everything else that I do, whether I learned it last week or I learned it years ago. And yeah, just going into coaches, it should be about that for me, and like being able to just put yourself in the moment with that person. You know, I keep saying about that because that's what I do in my pool game now, and that's what I'll be in the moment, giving your best you can, enjoying it with them as well, because that's what life is, isn't it? And we go so much in depth sometimes, and I love it, don't get me wrong, and I think I talk about this a lot, like my emotional intelligence is definitely up there now. I feel like I'm really self-aware. I understand sometimes not, you know, it's not always the best example what people portray, but why they might do certain actions, whether I agree or not. You know, again, like that's why we were talking about partner before we went on different things, but we speak about this an hell of a lot about like why certain reactions might come. A lot of it is because it's internal things what you've not actually solved and stuff like that. So it might be a little bit of trauma, it might be a little bit of, you relate that, let's say the situation with a bad emotion. Whereas for me now, I'm not doing that. Again, the issue I had when I was 17, 18, I used to look, and if something come at me which was similar, oh my God, I'd just collapse. Like, I just didn't know how to deal with it until I started learning from the counselling to, this is why it's happening. And that's what I loved about, she was called Karen, she was an unbelievable woman. And I did EMDR therapy, that was what it was. And she spoke about like all different parts of my brain, like why I was thinking and reacting in set ways. And because I could understand why it was happening, didn't always mean I'd stop it, but when the process come to sort it, it was so much better. So now it's like, yeah, I will still have bad experiences. I do get in a rut. I'm not sitting here saying I'm special. I'm definitely not. But my process now is so much better than it ever has been. And that, for me, gets me back on track quicker. And I just enjoy life so much better now. I'm so much more relaxed. Again, yeah, still make errors. Always do. But that's where I can learn. And because I'm welcoming it now, instead of pushing it away and going, no, I don't want that. And I know I'm going off tangent here, but from a coaching perspective, you know, you asked me why do you think that, you know, what's important to do. If someone can crack that feeling, you will fly. And I like to think I'm saying that off experience and what I've done, because I weren't special. Again, we come from a similar village, you know, went to a standard school, come out, had some, you know, friends who did, not one friend I know has gone into football coaching. You know, anyway, I was doing it on my own. My dad didn't do it, he's a plasterer. Oh God, went to work with him, it was a disaster, I hated it. Like, no, I can't do this. Mum's an hairdresser. But I learned don't get me wrong, my family gave me so many lessons, you know, from a personal perspective. But my journey was so, I don't want to do it, like independent, like I did it on my own. I had to learn like on my own in that way. And I'd like to say, even though certain things went wrong, I picked the good things out of what was bad and I went with it. And then, as I say, as I've matured, I've definitely opened my mind up to everyone. You know, I always say, like, you two in front of me now, you hold so much value. You've told me things already today that I'll take away and go, I like that. You know, and what you said was great. And I just think you can just be such a good sponge to that. And I just don't think you can lose like that. I really don't. And even when someone's got, and I've had it before where people might have really negative energy for you. You know, you hear about, someone said so and so about you. You might see something. I don't even care. But I care, but I don't. It doesn't hold enough weight for me because I know. Okay, I actually appreciate that now because I'm going to go. Okay, well, I'll look at me even if I don't necessarily agree and go, how can I use that to benefit myself? It's kind of like I'm going to grab it off you anyway. Even though you've tried to down me, I'm happy that you have. Thank you. It sort of doubles down back in a way. Do you know what I mean? I don't know if I've gone too deep there. No,
it makes sense.
It does.
It's a positive spin on something that's quite potentially quite negative.
Yeah. And you know what? I had a conversation with an old gaffer of mine, and I didn't really understand it at the time, but as you were saying it, I'm like, God, he's like the living embodiment of what this gaffer said to me. And he essentially said, you don't rise to the level of your standards, you fall to the level of your processes.
Love
and
that.
I'm like,
very good.
That's a very good point. So even though you might have the best intentions, what's your internal wiring? And you've just done so much hard work, by it sounds like, Hoppo, just to understand yourself and texture your mind. And I just don't think enough people do it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Absolutely agree. It's been hard, like, it's not an easy journey, and I think that's why people will stand behind, you know, we've got this big word of anxiety now, it's happening everywhere, and you're seeing it so much more now, and I'm glad that we're more aware of it, but I do also think that it might be controversial, it's something that I believe people use as an excuse to just go, well, I'm not going to learn the process, because it is, everyone's going to have anxiety. I don't believe not one person on earth hasn't got an anxiety about something. You can't just be walking through life thinking you can just, you know, barge through every gate what comes your way. You are going to be nervous about certain things, or something's going to upset you more than others. But if you can target it and go, okay, well, I know it's there, it's present, what's my process to it? Again, having something to be able to eliminate that feeling totally dominating your life. Because it is, and that's what people do, and they'll struggle with stuff. Even on the most traumatic experience. And like even now, like I look at, it's quite about, you know, even my partner, like she went through a terrible time last year, like losing a nan. And I said, like, look, let's try and process this in the most positive way we can. She's had an unbelievable life, you've all been there, you know, she passed with you all around her, and it's... And now I can actually make her think of positive things instead of looking at it and going, oh, it's anniversary of this. Well, let's enjoy it. Let's bring out good pictures and look at them. You know, and just having a way of doing it instead of going, oh, God, that moment, it was horrible and, you know, that happened. Yeah, but what about all the good stuff that you're missing out? And as humans, we're so good at that, aren't we? You could have 100 positives and you might pick the one negative out. Why do we do that? And I say that to my kids as well, like when I'm coaching them. They might do 10 reps or a finishing drill, right? Banged in, bang, bang, bang. Okay, maybe not a great shot. Banged it in. Right, you've just knocked 9 out of 10 in. And all they're bothered about is that one where it missed. Why are we doing that? Yes, notice it, but not... Stop putting your life on that situation always.
We do it... I mean, I do it probably more on like some of the social media posts for like us. So like we'll put out something on Instagram and it'll be like, yeah, great topic, lads, well done, awesome. And then we'll get one comment on from another on YouTube. Like, you're both twats and your missus is cheating on you. And I'm like, oh fuck.
Yeah, cheers, pal.
Come on, cheers. And then we're like, oh fuck, right? Is it what? And you'll shoe on that one. And but you had all these other amazing comments, like
absolutely.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? Our brains are
wired.
We're wired to pick up more on criticism, because I think we take that more to heart, don't we?
Of course we do.
Especially if you put yourself out there. It's a big risk to take, isn't it?
Absolutely.
So, but it's the risk you take, I guess, for sure.
Speaking about putting yourself out there, mate, if people want to check out, you know, whether it's RH Private Coaching, whether it's your pool efforts, I know you brought some new merch today as well.
I've got this one. I've got my jumper.
Look at this.
Here he is, branded up.
Smart, mate. Go on,
there we go.
Back.
So that's me, obviously my coaching company.
He's got his Nike sponsorship there.
Oh yeah,
plug them in. So Aquavolt nicely sponsored us. But yeah, it's that's my coaching platform. RH Private Coaching on everything, Instagram and Facebook. They're my main two. And then Hoppo, I don't even know my own Facebook name. Hoppo Pool and Coaching is my Facebook one. If they want to talk to me about that, but yeah.
Amazing.
More than happy to help anyone who's into either sport, I suppose.
Amazing, mate.
Hoppo, thank you so much for today, man.
Appreciate
it.
Awesome.
I've right enjoyed that.
I'm glad you're off. Guys, as always, if you are enjoying the episodes, we will direct you to subscribe, a like, a share, maybe even a review. It massively helps us out. So, yeah, that'd be much appreciated.
5 stars only, please.
5 stars only. I will come for you. As always, thank you for joining us on the Fitness Podcast. We'll see you in the next one.
Nice one.
See you soon.
My man, thank you.
Appreciate that.
Appreciate that.
Proper fun.